Good afternoon, everyone. I was never a confident kid when I was small. When I got 7 years old, I first started learning swimming with my cousin because she just first started it and she was pretty good a swimmer. And whenever she got to the competition, she won medals, she won trophies. But then for me, I just merely passed to the finals or maybe just 1 or 2 medals at the most. That's the most that I could do. And then when I was at school, I was a pretty shy and shy girl without self-esteem or have a very low self-assurance. And I just didn't know how to communicate well with my classmates, just like this. And I was often being the odd one out in the class. There was even one time that me and my classmates as a passerby to help us to take a group photo together at the school gate. And I was being cropped out of a picture because I just stood aside without any smile at all. I know it doesn't look like me, but yeah, I was that me. And then 3 years later, my PE teacher in my primary school just encouraged me to have maybe just to join a mini aquathon game. A mini aquathon, which was just about 100 meters swimming and 600 meters running. I thought it was fun because I never done anything like that before. And I just swim, and I didn't know what's the feeling of satisfaction. So I just tried it out. And I still remember that time I just wasted a lot of time finding my shoes when I got out of the swimming pool, and I just don't know where the shoes are. And I tried my best to surpass the others in the run. And I finally did it. I can't believe it. To my surprise, that was my first ever golden trophy. And then it is also a moment, an outshining moment that I thought that, wow, I can actually succeed. I can actually have a moment of my own. And since then, I asked my parents, oh, can you just enroll me into those triathlon beginners classes, those courses? Because I foresee that I might actually I have a feeling that I can do it well. Or maybe one day I can be in the Hong Kong team. So that was a winter with just about 13 degrees Celsius, and we had to, me and those peers, the course mates, we had to swim in the outdoor swimming pool with just this cold weather. It was insane. And all the others just gone absent except me. I just finished every class proud. Every class I did my best. And with constant practice, I tried once. It's to the Hong Kong team time trial at age 11. And I passed the time trial the first time. And I entered into the Hong Kong team as the youngest member of that time. But then that road wasn't any easier for me because I had poor cycling skills. All my teammates had professional equipment. Their gears were just wow, with some sponsors, some brands. While I was just having some second-hand bikes or having some low-quality sunglasses just to protect my eyes, nothing stylish at all. And then I also often had some bike crashes and injuries during my training, and I was a joke between them, actually. But then I also thought about, okay, I still had my time to prove myself. I still had my time to do my best because I was still young. So at the age of 14, I started earning more confidence because I won more and more international and local races. And I also gained some credits from sponsors like Nike, Champion System, or Oakley sunglasses, which I am really thankful for them because they bring the happy me. But then I thought I could also do much more. Whenever I can represent Hong Kong outside to have some international race, I'm very determined to win in every race. Until that time in the Thailand triathlon game. It was an Asian Cup. So Thailand was pretty hot in March. It could reach up to 37 degrees Celsius. And then, by then I was already the top elite triathlete in the team, in the Hong Kong team. I aim at earning the champion of that championships. But not every, but not everything just happen according to what you wish ideally. So for example, there were the slow procedures, the checking-in procedures of the Thai officials. They were not as efficient as the Hong Kong style, and they actually delayed my time, my warm-up time, to get to the pontoon to get ready in the start line. So I got frustrated. I was worried about whether my things are getting ready already, and the more I was worried, the more I was cautious about whether other competitors were having a better shape than I did, or whether their equipment was better than me. And I never realized that my mind and my body was already in a fatigue position. The condition wasn't so good before the race was even started. But then the horn started. Yes, the race started with a horn. And I jumped to the Mekong River with other competitors, hundreds of others, to the river to start the 750 meters swimming. And if you have watched any open water swim, you will know that the swimmers, they just lifted their heads a bit up high to the water level, just that their eyes could see the right direction. So when I reached to around 100 meters, when I wanted to lift my head a bit up high to see the direction if I'm in the right way, I suddenly got dragged by the big current in the river, by the big round lifeboat. And I was drowning in the river. I panicked. I was running out of oxygen, obviously, because that was an unexpected drag. And then I was so sure that no kayaks, no lifeguards on those kayaks actually see me, because while all those hundreds of the others, I was just a tiny yellow cap down there, and I was on my own. I'm the only one who can save myself. I tried my best to use my enormous effort to climb back up. It was so hard. I failed the first time. My mind was so messy because I thought about I couldn't just end up my life there. I came here to experience, to win. I wanted to win so bad. But then this actually just having so messy, my thoughts, well, I just couldn't, I panicked, I was petrified. And then I tried again with all my effort, and I came back up to the water surface. But then when I came back up, obviously, I was the only one back, already behind all those others. My competitors were already far away, ahead of me, maybe 100 or 200 meters. It could be maybe a minute down there in the river, drowning. But I thought I just came back from hell. And I used up all my effort just for climb back up. And in the cycling, the 20 kilometers cycling, I was on my own. And while all the others, I know that they have all the drafting methods, they have all the tactics just to save their efforts, but I was on my own, and I didn't have any energy left. When I came back to the transition area, and my head coach told me, "Hey, are you okay, Vincci? Are you still can continue?" I told her, yes, I can still make it. But then, deep down, I knew that I was having a heat stroke because my head was having a very dizzy and my feet were burning hot. And I also didn't know whether I could still finish the race. I didn't want to win any champion anymore. I didn't want to have any trophies. I just wanted to finish the race because I never bowed out one race before, and I wouldn't bow out this one either. So when I was running in the last kilometer, there was another accident. I heard people cheering up for me, but then I just went blackout. I couldn't see anything. There was no image at all. But then I still could feel my feet were running, were going forward. My feet were very heavy, sometimes maybe light, like in a space. I just couldn't grab my steps very accurately, and I was getting a heat stroke, obviously. So when I heard people cheering up for me, I still go forward because I knew the race wasn't finished yet. And I told myself I couldn't just fail. I had to fail before I only could get down to the floor when I finish the race, when I get to the finish line. So in that journey, it was very hard. And in the last 400 meters, it suddenly appeared again, the image. I was so surprised. I knew that, okay, the finish line was just in front of me, okay, and I can make it. And to the last 10 meters, I see the finish line waving at me, and I just fell down on the floor. The last image was I fell on the floor and being lifted up on the ambulance bed. So when I went back to Hong Kong, I had a session with my sports psychologist. She actually told me that I could have risked my life in that race. I was shocked because I never knew that my mental quality could go to that limit. And my mental quality was like a 35-year-old adult, while I was just a 15-year-old little girl. So my mental power overrides and outperform my physical power. But then this once-in-a-lifetime journey, this once-in-a-lifetime impact is having a positive one on my journey. And I thought you could feel that it is applicable as well. The first one I learned about is the mind tends to have the pleasure, goes to the pleasure rather than the pain. During the 5 kilometers run, I had one thought. I have always thought about ice cream. So ice cream, what about ice cream? Because whenever I got moody, whenever I got upset, I would eat ice cream. It would get myself happier. I will have the motivation to continue. I think it's quite silly. Maybe you think it's silly, but then it's actually working for me in that situation. Because I thought, okay, when you get to the finish line, after the race, you can eat as many ice cream as you wish. The Thai desserts, which I did, for the record. And then I feel that the mind is actually having a communication with your body. What picture or what words you draw to your mind is having a mirror effect to your body as well. So you have to communicate properly with the body, and that's why you have to think positively. And second, I think that you have to focus on what you can control instead of those unnecessary burdens. Say, for example, whether others having a better equipment than you or they have better shape than you do, they were just useless. So, for example, in work, maybe you were worrying about whether your partners are having a better pitching idea than you or grab the idea from you. But then they are actually a waste of time. You just have to perform the best that you could. It almost has no impact on you whether others' condition is better than you. You just have to focus on yourself. And then third, I thought about it. We can break down our big difficult task into smaller chunks and to achieve it easier. So in the 5 kilometers run, I always thought about, okay, I just killed this 1 kilometer. The next, I have to kill the next kilometer. It's not about whether I've got 4 more kilometers to go or 3 or 2 or 1. My goal is to achieve another kilometer. So I always splash the water over my face whenever I got to the water stations. So do you. You can get some reinvigorating words in your mind and to remind yourself the bigger purpose of the goal. And there are, of course, negative thoughts. We fail, we fall. But then these negative thoughts come and go. We can acknowledge them because they are there, acknowledge their presence, but never get indulged in those negative thoughts. Because whenever you get indulged, you will get weaker and weaker. And you can only focus on your own breath. That's the way that you will continue and exceed your limit. And also, I thought about we can use the failure as an energy boost rather than something that we need to avoid. Failure is a must if we want to go for some success. And and also, if we are having a failure moment, say for example, we actually don't know whether the limit is. There will be, but we change a bit the perspective. Whenever we are still in the battlefield, you're still having a chance to fight back. You're still having a chance to finish the race. When I feel my feet were still on the ground, I still haven't finished the race. And there was a saying from Sir Arthur Clarke, an English writer. He said one word, the only possible way to discover the limits of the possible is to get them beyond into the impossible. And the physical strength, we all have the physical strength to go to the start line, but it's only the mental resilience and the discipline, the quality, the grit for you to go to the finish line and far beyond that. That's what I learned. And then lastly is the Navy SEALs 40% rule. If you have heard of this one, it's actually telling us that whenever we feel that we are reaching our limits, we still have 60% more to go. It's just 40% that you have done. And this is actually resonate with my Thailand experience, I thought. Because navies, you know that they have 6 months of continuous tortuous runs in the soft sand. They have midnight swim in the cold water. They also have calisthenics and obstacle trainings all along. And those who cannot meet the standards, they actually have to have 2 extra hours of calisthenics. And then the next morning, they have to continue with the regular trainings with their peers. But an interesting fact is that those who are constantly being punished, they were actually the ones who are strongest. They're getting stronger and stronger over time with these struggles. And they are training their inner mentality and the physical power at the same time. And that is where I learned that I can still go forward with the 40% rule. When this pain is actually training our individuals, us, as how to sustain, how to lead in constant chaos, constant stress, hardships, and failures. And for me, this is very crucial because we all have the physical power to go to start something new, but never get yourself into the comfort zone. It is better for you to jump out of the comfort zone and then to use your courage to start something difficult, to endure in the difficult. That's where you can find your limit. You can always make your mind a heaven or hell. It's just up to you. So whenever the next time you are having a struggle, you want to give up, any reason you are thinking of, I hope that this sharing, when you think about, you can actually break down your goals into smaller chunks. You can actually motivate your mind with some positive experience or positive image, words. And then you can also use failures as an energy boost rather than something you have to avoid. And lastly, this Navy SEAL rule, Navy SEAL's 40% rule, is telling you that whenever you think you're in the limit, you still have 60% more to go. I hope that my journey can motivate you to begin with your journey. Thank you.